Hello everyone, welcome to NintenDormant, the podcast where we discuss Nintendo games that have been left on the shelf. I'm your host George Banks, and we have our resident guest Josh Goldie this week, and a NintenDormant debut for David from the Super Switch Headz podcast. David, hello.
Hello, how's it going? Thank you so much for having me. Very excited.
Thank you very much for being here. Now, I have a bone to pick with you immediately, David.
Uh-oh. All right, let's go.
Aggressive.
Now, when you... yes, we don't mess around in this country. But when you're tuning into your podcast, I can't help but notice, could you tell us the first sentence that comes out of your mouth on every episode of the podcast?
Hello, everybody, and welcome.
And
what it is?
Do you say a little something about your podcast afterwards?
Oh, the premier Nintendo podcast on all of the internet.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Now, Josh, how do we feel about this, Josh?
Those are big fighting words.
Yes, they are big
throwing
fighting
a gauntlet down with that one.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, I gotta say more than anything, I think it was us trying to start a fight with Nintendo Voice Chat, the IGN podcast,
right?
Because there are multiple ways that we did that. A, we say that we're the premier Nintendo podcast on all the internet, which is true, and B, we also started releasing.
Don't try and sneak that in under the radar. I heard that one.
The debate starts now.
Fine.
But no, and the other one was that we started releasing our episodes one day early, one day before ABC, in order to
just undercut them.
Oh god.
But we are losing that battle. It's hard to go against a conglomerate like IGN.
It's the cutthroat world of Nintendo podcasts. Who knew? So yes, the Super Switch Headz podcast. I mean, you've got literally, we were saying before we started recording, 10 times the amount of episodes that NintenDormant has. You've been doing it a long old time.
So yeah, we've done it since 2019. Yeah.
Wow. So you cover Nintendo news, but you also cover sort of bigger, broader topics as well. You know, I know it's not the most recent episode, but the most recent one I listened to was the Spiritual Successors one, which was fantastic. Sort of discussing, at what point does it become like, well, we've just made your game, and or we've taken influence from your game, and also having developers and stuff on. So how do you kind of you've been going for so long, how do you decide what topics you want to tackle? Is it sort of an organic process?
Yeah, I think it's a bit freeform. I think we've gone through several hosts over the years. I've been kind of the main stay, I suppose. I've been there since the beginning of the show. But I think it's kind of like a communal process. It's like if something I think is fascinating us, I think that's something that we tend to go for.
Yeah,
it's also a variety thing. So it's like it's nice because with a general release cadence of Nintendo games, you kind of always have those pillars whenever a new game comes out. And we've got, multiple people on the show, so we'll kind of share digital copies every once in a while, so not everybody has to buy the game. Unless Nintendo, if you're listening, that doesn't happen. No. Also, we'd be happy to take free copies to mitigate this problem here. But no, it's... I think it's kind of just whatever's fascinating us in the moment. Sometimes we like to follow the news.
Yeah.
So, we've got a generative AI and games development episode that we've been putting off doing for a long time that we'll have to do at some point. Yeah, right. But I think, it's important topics like that we try not to shy away from too much. But I don't know, like for instance, with the Spiritual Successors episode, that's just something I've wanted to talk about for a long time because I love when games blatantly rip off other games, and I think there's no problem with that at all in my mind, and it was really cool to go right to the source and talk to game devs on that.
It's interesting, right? Because I think Josh and I sort of, and John, obviously, we discuss that sometimes, and there's always so much to pack in, even if you're discussing one game with this, that we don't often get to touch on Spiritual Successors. We just did our Wario Land episode, and everybody always states Anton Blast and Pizza Tower as kind of spiritual successors for those, but we didn't even really get a chance to touch it because they do take so much from these games, and I think what. If these games aren't around, Wario Land's not been around for years, then it's kind of fair game for somebody to say, do you know what, I love that game and I miss that game and I want to make that game again, something, that kind of experience. Like, Josh, what are your thoughts? I didn't even touch on, Anton Blast and Pizza Tower with you as such a big fan of Wario Land 4.
I mean, they're both excellent games. They're both trying to do something different. Like, I feel like... Pizza Tower is trying to be what Wario Land 4 could be if you ranked everything up. Like what it sort of is in your mind and how you imagine Wario is what that's trying to be. And then Anton Blast is more faithful to Wario Land, but it's pulling a lot from stuff like Crash Bandicoot and that kind of vibe in what it adds to the game. So that one both have taken the Wario Land formula and gone like slightly different ways with it.
Yeah,
but both very still distinctly Wario Land 4. And I think that's what makes like really good spiritual successors, because there's like different camps to them. So you got like Bloodstained, which is obviously a Castlevania spiritual successor, and it's very close to what Castlevania the Igarashi
Simon
Castlevanias
Belmont.
But then you could argue Shovel Knight is a spiritual successor to Mega Man, because it's got very clear Mega Man vibes to it, but then it does so much else different that it's like, is it actually though? I mean, it's clearly... It's got the different knights. It feels very inspired, but it does so much different that it almost doesn't step on Mega Man's toes. There's like interesting levels of spiritual success you can have.
That's exactly what I was about to say. It's kind of like you're stepping into little alternate realities, right? Where it's like, well, it could have been this, and it could have been this, and it could have been this, and so you've got those like little touches of influence, but they are their own things. You know, I love ukulele. A lot of people had issues when the first game came out, but I loved it because it felt just like Banjo-Kazooie, and it was the same team, the same people making it, and that for me was, it's the same but it's different, and it's what the series could have been had they carried on. Have you guys played Yuka Replayly, or have you not picked that up yet?
I haven't played Replayly yet. No,
I haven't
too
yet.
Much on.
Speaking of those
there's
free
so
codes,
many
David.
games right now.
Yeah, anybody from Playtonic, I'd really love one right about now.
I actually did. I applied to get a Yuka Replayly code, and I did not get one, so that's egg on my face.
Didn't you tell them that you were the premium Nintendo podcast of the internet, and they still
I know, right? Someone didn't get the memo.
Outrageous.
No, but you're totally right about spiritual successors, and not to just completely rehash this topic from our show a couple weeks back, but definitely listen to that episode. I really enjoyed it. But I think one of the, we're talking about Pilotwings today, and I think there's one of the first few episodes we did of our podcast back in 2019 was with the developer of Ultra Wings, which was like a VR kind of spiritual successor to Pilotwings in its own right. And I think that there's so much that Nintendo could learn from these people that take the ideas and then add their own stuff to it, So I think that there's sort of a feedback loop possible if everybody is, can put their ego at the door and be like, oh, I can actually learn from some of the mistakes we made or improvements other people made, and then incorporate that back into the main, franchise.
Or just say,
I'm sure that's please good for this podcast.
Make the game, please. That's all we want. Just make more of these. Yes, I mean, lots of games, that I love that take from other games. At the end of the day, it's more games. So who are we to complain? Yeah. And we are going to play another little game right now. Yes, it's time for the NintenDormant Quickfire Quiz. 2 rounds, fastest finger first, followed by player pass for double points. And as always, our guests will pick their buzzers. Now, David, you are new to the show, so I will give you the honour of picking your buzzer first. If you would like, do you have a buzzer in mind, or do you want
Josh? Yes, I've thought long and hard about this, and I think absolutely the best buzzer for me is going to be the great landing sound effect from Pilotwings for the Super Nintendo. It's not too long, but it packs a punch.
It's a very good one. It's on topic. I always like it when it's on topic. Thank you.
Absolutely. Doing my best.
Do you hear that, Josh? He respects the show.
Okay.
What are you picking?
Look, all right. I'm going to be the counter to this.
Oh, God.
You want the landing one? I want the sound of crashing.
Hey, all right.
Hit the floor.
Excellent.
In Pilotwings Super Nintendo.
The yin and the yang, very nice. The sound which I've heard all too often. I fired the game up again in preparation for this. God, it's hard to land in that game. It's disgusting. Well, we have takeoff and crash landings. Excellent. Let's get on with the quiz. Fingers on buzzers, please. Fastest finger first. Here we go. Question 1. Pilotwings on the SNES sees you take control of 4 vehicles, but which is the only vehicle for which you can change the point of view? Oh, it's David.
Ooh, okay. I think that is Rocket Belt.
It is Rocket Belt. Very good.
Let's go.
Yes.
Nice.
Shoulder button switches you to over the top, which is, I mean, it's not, I think it would be like nice to have that option for the other ones, but it is necessary for Rocket Belt.
Because that's the one where it's needed, because you're going forward and down.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
They did not figure out rotating the character.
Right, yeah, not yet. It was mode 7. It was an early thing. But But I was replaying some of Pilotwings Resort leading up to this podcast, and I actually got really thrown because I'm so used to the Super Nintendo version. But it's like, as you're approaching the targets when you're in Rocket Belt in the 3DS one, the camera like auto shifts above, and I was like, "Oh, I hate it! I hate it!
Give me control!
Let me do it myself."
Yeah, exactly.
Oh god, yeah, Rocket Belt. I mean, my favourite on the original, but so hard to get through a ring or a beam. Horrendous. Yes, 1 point, David, to you. Well done. Question 2.
Very
Fingers
good.
and buzzers, please. Here we go. So, throughout the series, bonus modes have been unlockable to play alongside the standard vehicles, but in the original Pilotwings, which animal do you launch from a high dive? Oh, it's David again.
I got this one. You play as a cute little penguin.
You do. Chuck him off a big tower. It's the weirdest thing.
Throw him.
It's a theme that has come back time and again in Nintendo
it's
games.
True.
Actually,
Nintendo
throwing
has a
penguins
thing
off of cliffs.
Oh yeah! Oh my god! I didn't even think about that. Yeah, just like his cute little tummy, and like you can angle him, so he's just looking at the screen, just sort of going, "What are you doing to me?"
Absolutely, yeah. It's really disturbing, but I don't know what penguin hurt what employee at Nintendo, but something has happened and they've been taking revenge ever since. Yeah,
Miyamoto, not a fan of those cuddly little things.
It probably was Miyamoto. Yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm. I'll send him. Do you guys have in the States? We have a little a chocolate bar called a penguin. They're called penguins. Do you have those in the
Penguin
States?
bars.
No, but that sounds delicious. I love chocolate.
Yeah, they're just like biscuits covered in chocolate. It's like standard chocolate biscuit thing.
That's not the best part of a penguin. The best part of a penguin are the jokes.
Of course.
On a penguin
So-
bar.
Oh, they come with little jokes?
Every
They come with
penguin,
little jokes.
has on the back, like, it's so weird, but you've got the joke written on the back, and then like you lift up the flap, and it's got the answer to the joke, the punchline.
Ooh, that's technology right there.
Can you?
That's good.
Can you think of any off the top of your head, Josh, that would have been on a penguin bar?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, in the break, we might Google some quick penguin bar jokes for you, David. Just
Yeah, that's the most important part of this podcast.
It'd be something like, what did the snowman say to the other? Ice to meet you.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So it's
That's
the
kind of
that's
joke.
the
Yeah,
baseline.
that's what we're doing.
I'm actually pretty sure
do you
that's
guys-
one, Josh. Yeah.
Do you guys have Snapple?
No, I know what it is. You got there's always stuff in the lid, right? In the cap.
Yeah, that's about as close as we have. They're not jokes, but they're little factoids.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we're all
I
about
didn't know
knowledge and learning here in the
Oh,
States.
okay.
We're all about the pants.
Yeah. Pants.
Having a good time.
God.
That's the major difference between our two nations.
Yeah. The only difference. Right.
Yes, absolutely.
2 points to David. Fingers and buzzers, please. Question 3. Here we go. All right. Pilotwings 64 introduces us to some playable characters for our vehicle types, but what are they all named after? Oh, it's Josh. Quick one.
They're all named after birds.
They are indeed, Josh. Well done. Did you know that one, David? Did you remember that one?
I think that correlation washed over me.
Okay. Fair. I'm going to tell you the bird names, and you're going to feel silly.
Please.
We've got
I will, probably.
We've got lark, kiwi, goose, ibis, hawk, and robin. I mean, they're not necessarily they don't all jump out of you as birds. And speaking of America and England, there is one pilot that is fully like USA. Do you remember which one that is?
He's the big brolic guy, right? Like the huge one?
No, that's Hawk. I think.
Or is he
it's
German?
Goose.
Maybe he's German.
Might be German, but he looks German. I think he's got the big moustache, but it's Goose.
Right.
Goose is fully his gyrocopter has literally got like the flag draped across it, or when when he's hang gliding, he's
like the blonde one too. He's like
yeah. So just that's the USA character. Absolutely superb. 2 points.
Not the
to
average
1.
body type for Americans, though, I'll tell you.
Oh, hey, now come
What
on.
they want.
A little more rotund out here.
No, you said it. Right, question 4. Fingers on buzzers. Here we go. Question 4. 2 points to 1. Pilotwings 64 gives the player a hang glider, rocket belt, or gyrocopter to pilot. But which of these gives you the option to snap photographs? David.
Hang glider. I just did it today.
Yes, it's the hang glider. Yes, very nice.
Feels really difficult to photograph while hang gliding.
I know.
Like of all vehicles to have that on. What are you doing?
Really?
Like I wouldn't want to let my hand go to snap a photo.
Not the gyro.
They're using the
meta.
They're using the Meta Ray-Ban glasses too.
That's it. That's it.
Take pics.
Classic 1990s Meta Ray-Ban.
That was something I noticed when I was also playing Pilotwings Resort. Was they kind of carried that over to the whole kind of photography thing. If if they made a new one, I would definitely want more of that in there. It kind of feels like a proto Pokemon Snap almost.
Every Nintendo game nowadays has photo mode in it, right?
Yeah. Are they just adding it to Pikmin? They're literally adding it to Pikmin 4.
And they're adding it to Pikmin 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Standard.
So
Mandates.
It all started with Pilotwings 64, so you can thank Pilotwings for Nintendo's
So much to
incessant
thank.
photography modes. That's 3 points to 1, so that means you will be taking round 1, but we've still got one question left. Fastest finger first. So, fingers on buzzers, here we go. Pilotwings Resort on the 3DS sees the player taking to the skies on what island? Josh. That was all about speed. Come on, Josh.
Woohoo Island.
Of course it's Woohoo Island.
Of course it's Woohoo Island.
Absolutely.
Everyone loves Woohoo Island.
Will we
The
say
best island.
is it iconic? Has it reached iconic island status, Woohoo Island?
I'd say it definitely did in the 3DS and Wii U's era. Of, like it was like in it was in Mario Kart, it was in Smash Brothers.
True, actually.
It's in. It shows up all the time.
I'm really hoping
it's in multiple Mario Karts, in fact.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really hoping that they bring Woohoo Island in as like a tertiary island in Mario Kart World. Like kind of
Yes, that would be
sea.
really nice.
That would be an awesome DLC.
Do you know what was my idea for Mario Kart World? This is a very small segue to a miniature pitch on our podcast. But I thought, for why couldn't they give us a little island just like that? It could be Woohoo Island or whatever, and you could make 6 tracks. You could design 6 tracks, and then you could make your own. What's it called? Make your own tour across the island. Guys, come on.
Love it.
It seems like an easy win. Easy win, Nintendo. I mean, probably quite difficult to make, but an easy win. So
I am not a game developer.
Disclaimer flashing at the bottom of every episode.
or a lawyer.
technically, I am a game developer. Technically,
That's true.
but
Okay. Very good.
only for very small consoles. No, not for a Switch. I
Very
wouldn't know.
small 1-bit systems.
Yeah. Shh. We don't say that bit. So after round 1, David, you have 3 points. Josh, you have 2. So David, you're going to be going first for play or pass. Now, just a quick reminder, as it's your first time with us. I'll give you some multiple choice for some questions. If you don't know the answer, you can pass it to Josh, and if he gets it wrong, you get 1 point. If you know it, you answer it, you get 2 points, and if you pass it to him and he gets it right, he gets 2 points. So it's a bit of jeopardy with play or pass. All right.
Great. No buzzing required in this one.
No buzzing required. Just give you your questions.
God. So much pressure.
Yeah. I quite like this first one, so it's a bit of a doozy for the first one. Here we go.
Okay.
In the original Pilotwings, things take a turn when you're asked to rescue your instructors from captivity. But if you deny their request to help and ask the remaining instructor to go, he says he can't because he's only licensed to control what? Is it A, hot air balloons, B, boats, or C, motorcycles? Now, full disclosure, I did not know this. I played the game and specifically said no yesterday to see if it would make a quiz question, and it made a great one, so I'm very pleased.
Well, I've always risen to the call of duty and done what I've needed to do, so I've never selected no.
USA, whereas this coward over here, straight out.
I'm so used to the draft.
You're the professional here, you take it.
I'm going to have to pass this one first,
right.
because I do not know.
All right, so Josh...
I have a guess, but I want to see if you get it
We'll come back
first.
to your guess. So Josh, yes, we dodged the draft here, but if you say no, your instructor says, well, I can't do it because I'm only licensed to control what? Is it A, hot air balloons, B, boats, or C, motorcycles?
I've no bloody idea for this. I'm going to guess.
You've got to guess. Go on, you've got to pick one.
Yeah, I have to. Hot air balloon.
It's not hot air balloons.
That would have been my guess.
Oh, David gets the point. It's motorcycles. He says, I'm only licensed to drive motorcycles. Yeah, it's hilarious.
But he's a pilot instructor.
Yep. It makes no sense.
That's the kind of dodgy teaching that you get in the Pilotwings Academy.
Shouldn't have hired this guy off Fiverr.
Yeah.
You can now fly this Apache. Off you go. How would you know? And then, so I think if you deny it once, he says something like, you're not going to rise to the challenge or something. And you say and then the option changes. It says, why don't you go and do it? And he says, I can't do it. I'm only licensed to ride motorcycles.
That's
so
funny.
Over and over again after that, it just says, I should have guessed chickens can't fly or something. And he says it over and over again until you have to say yes eventually. We'll get into it as well, but that tone shift in the game is still one of the funniest moments in gaming
out of nowhere.
Ever. It's just like having a wonderful time, flying these lovely vehicles, and it's like, by the way, a guerrilla group has captured all the instructors and you have to go literally shoot down their camp and rescue them. What?
Also, it's
What?
the music too. Like the whole game is this like cool like fusion jazz, like
So
early
good.
90s fusion jazz, and then all of a sudden it's like this militaristic drumming, and it's like, whoa, okay.
So funny. Such
love
a
it.
ridiculous gear shift. Josh, you take the point for that. Oh no, David, sorry. David,
No, I
you do
don't.
take the
David
point for that one.
takes
So that's
the point for
4
that.
points to 2. Josh, you can pull it level with this one. So are you ready for the next question?
As long as it's not Pilotwings SNES question, I think.
Pilotwings 64. It's Pilotwings 64. You might be in here.
Okay, it's
So
my weaker point.
the gyrocopter in Pilotwings 64 features rockets that you can shoot at specific targets. But what is the name of the rampaging robot you're required to take down for some specific missions? Is it A, Mecha Eagle, B, Mecha Falcon, or C, Mecha Hawk?
Ooh.
Do you remember the big old robot trundling along?
I don't. I don't remember, but I'm going to guess that
All right.
it's Mecha Hawk.
Oh, he's nailed it. Yes, Mecha Hawk.
Ooh,
Yes.
congratulations.
What made you guess that?
Thank you. Because he's the only one who's a named character from the pilots.
See, I thought that might throw you. I thought you might think, well, it's not going to be
Nah.
that because very good.
Because,
very
like,
Because he
good.
kind of
Like,
looks
if-
like him, right? He's yeah.
I mean, he's
Yeah,
brilliant,
that's what I'm assuming the reference is. Like, if they were like
Yeah.
actual birds,
Yeah.
then I might have been thrown off. But it's the fact that it's a big mecha dude.
I did write Mecha Goose, and I thought that just sounds silly, so I have to go with birds of prey.
It can't be Mecha Goose.
He also, I don't know how well you guys remember it, but he makes the funniest sound when you shoot it. Like, okay, with zero context, David, if you were to shoot a giant robot in this game, what kind of noise do you think it would make?
Ow!
Oh, okay. Josh, what kind of noise are you going with?
9.
Bringing back the German
It's the
reference.
German.
Very nice.
Yeah, there you go.
See, in my mind, I would have thought something like, zzz, like an electronic sound.
Oh, okay.
But it's
That
literally
makes
somebody just going like, ah. Like, it's just so
was pretty
anticlimactic.
close.
You were
How,
really
how
close.
annoying.
Yeah. Oh, stop.
Oh.
It's just really funny. He's got like throwing boulders at you, you're shooting missiles, and it just goes, ah. Right. That is, it's tied up 4 points to 4. This is a very close quiz. I might have to pull out the tiebreaker.
Whoa.
So,
Yeah.
question 3, David, if you're ready, this one's for you. Only used in one mission. What is used in Pilotwings Resort to allow the player to fall in style? Is it A, a squirrel suit, B, springy shoes, or C, a parachute?
Okay, that's got to be the squirrel suit, right?
Correct. That's the squirrel suit.
Let's
2 points to
go.
you.
Yeah.
Well done.
That's the most Nintendo option out of those 3.
But-
Absolutely.
In my defense, those other ones do exist in Pilotwings, so I thought they might trip us up.
Right.
But,
No, yeah. The jumping boots are.
It's in the 64.
Pilotwings 64.
Yeah,
Right.
Super
Yeah, yeah.
weird. I mean, great, but super weird. I
Yeah.
never unlocked the squirrel suit, so it's not something that was stuck in my brain. But yeah, looks very fun.
I
Josh,
wonder, that would have been coming out at the same time that New Super Mario Brothers U was coming
Yeah.
out.
yeah,
And
that's
also
exactly
has
my
a
thinking.
flying
Like,
squirrel suit.
that's I thought it's got to be
great
a
point.
link to that, right? It's got to be right.
Synergy. Yeah.
Josh, you've got to get this one to tie the
boy.
quiz up. So no pressure. Here we go. Are you ready?
Let's do this.
Oh,
believe in you.
you're not going to get it. I'll be honest, I ran out of questions. Pilotwings Resort has a handy desk clerk to help you work through your challenges. But what is the name of this me? Is she A, pilot lady, B, office lady, or C, club lady?
Oh Lord.
That's really horrible. That's so horrible. I'm so sorry.
I'm gonna say Club Lady.
It's not. It's office lady. Generically named
Office lady.
Office Lady.
Do you
Pilot
remember-
Lady
my
felt
God.
too obvious.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
for
gonna
it
name
to
my
be that
daughter.
one.
I nearly went with desk lady, but I thought that's just weird. Do you remember what office lady looks like? This memorable me.
Does she have glasses?
She doesn't have glasses. She's got blonde
wow.
hair, blue eyes, and she's very tanned. Yeah. Just how
Doesn't
you'd
sound
imagine.
like an office lady.
No,
Sorry.
but she is an
Right,
office
yeah,
lady.
her office is outside. Yeah.
Sounds more like a club lady, in my opinion.
Just wondering how many people worldwide you're insulting by saying that, Josh. Just how many women work in offices in the world? Yes, she does work in an office on an exotic island. To be fair, but yes, do you want to know what the tiebreaker question was? It was going to be fastest finger first, and it was going to be whose face replaces those of the presidents on Mount Rushmore. Come on,
I was waiting.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Come
We know that
on.
one, right?
You were waiting.
Yeah.
I knew you were going to. I knew you were expecting that question.
I was waiting
Josh,
for that
which
one.
is
Yeah.
why I didn't
The
pick
main
it.
man Mario himself.
Oh, yeah. So after the
Or
quiz,
Wario, if you
Wario.
if you hit him in the nose, he becomes Wario. If I'm
Yeah.
not
so
mistaken.
good,
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah, I think we've brought that trivia up in a previous episode.
Yes,
Which is why I was-
specifically,
which is
you
why I
said
was
it.
wondering. Yeah, I said it. So
I fundamentally cannot
Come on,
use that for
finally.
the quiz.
the one thing I know.
So apologies not to give you that question, Josh, but you still got a very respectable 4 points, and this week's winner, David, with 7 points. Well done, David, on your
Thank
debut,
you.
taking the
Thank you
win
very
there.
much.
So you won the quiz, and that means you will be going first as we move into the main event. So yes, the series we are talking about this week is the Pilotwings series. A quick history lesson for those who don't know. The Pilotwings series began life as a tech demo for the SNES, demonstrating its Mode 7 scaling capabilities before becoming a flight simulator title featuring a biplane, hang gliding, skydiving, and rocket belting. You work your way through these different flight styles to earn your license and eventually unlock a helicopter combat sequence, complete with rockets to fire. The game released alongside the SNES at launch in the West, and although a planned SNES sequel that would have used the Super FX chip was in the works, players would have to wait 5 years until Pilotwings 64 to play the series again. This entry introduced playable characters with different stats, and although gameplay was largely similar to its predecessor, Pilotwings 64 took place in a fully realised 3D space and encouraged more freedom of exploration. GameCube and Wii sequels were planned but scrapped, although Wii Sports Resort featured flying and parachuting, and paved the way for the 3DS entry Pilotwings Resort in 2011. Using Miis instead of characters this time round, the 3D effect of the system is a massive boost to the series as you take to the skies of Woohoo Island in probably the most chilled version of the game to date. There's been no sight of Pilotwings since then, but the first 2 entries are currently available to play on NSO. So yes, only a few entries in the Pilotwings series. My sort of main takeaway from the games is that they're all equally relaxing and brutal, which is a weird way to describe it. But yes, they're games that kind of exist in these two opposite worlds at the same time. David, you're the one when we were discussing about sort of teaming up for the show, you suggested you wanted to chat about podcasts. So what's your history with the game? What made you want to talk about it this week?
Yeah, well, I love Pilotwings. I think more than anything, I'm the biggest fan of the original for the Super Nintendo. My dad is a pilot, or was a pilot. He's retired now.
Me too.
So I think. Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
cool. Oh, wow, that's some happenstance there. Maybe they almost crashed before.
The whole UK-US thing, just like, oh, this guy,
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's you fly on the other side of the sky.
Very good.
But yeah. But no. So I think that was. And it was a launch game, right, for the original Super Nintendo. So it was like an early game that we had whenever we got the system, and it was one that he very much was like, here is kind of what I do. And obviously, it's not like a flight simulator style game, but I think something that I love about the Pilotwings series is that it kind of does ride that line between like arcadey, video gamey fun and simulator, so it's like in the original one, taking off and slowing down to land and making sure you're aiming it correctly. It does not pull any punches, and it's pretty difficult. And then I also just like that it's used as a kind of launch game for all these systems. So it's a great way to kind of show off what is the new system is capable of. But they never really felt like tech demos. They're shorter gameplay experiences, but I think that just means that they're kind of more replayable. It reminds me more of something like Star Fox, where you kind of play through, see how best of a score you can get, rather than just like, here's like a Wii Sports, which is just kind of showing off what we can do. It's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, And I really love that about the series.
I mean, speaking of Star Fox, just to segue onto that quickly. So apparently Dylan Cuthbert said about 5 or 6 years ago or something that Pilotwings 2 was in development for the SNES using the Super FX chip, but then it became, or didn't necessarily become, they basically scrapped it to make Star Fox instead. So being big fans of Pilotwings, how do you feel about that? You know, are you happy of the existence of Star Fox at the expense of a SNES sequel?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I love Pilotwings, but I also love Star Fox. I don't know that I love one more necessarily than the other, which is kind of crazy to say because Star Fox is so cool. But it's so good. Like, I think the charm of the original one is the kind of pixelated sprites on the Mode 7 background. So I think had they done Pilotwings with the Super FX chip, I don't think it would have had the same charm. I think it would have lost some of that arcadey vibe that I really like about the first Pilotwings. And then, you know, they were able to kind of stretch their legs a little bit more with Pilotwings 64 with the 3D open world. So I think that's better that it worked out that way, I think.
Yeah, I sort of agree with. I think if Pilotwings 2 came out, it would have made Pilotwings 64 probably a little less special.
Yeah,
that's how it's that showing off the 3D effects. And like, I also think it's just good to have differences because if Pilotwings 2 existed, there's also the risk of it overshadowing Pilotwings 1, if depending on what they actually did with it and all that. Whereas having two different flying type games on the Super Nintendo allows them both to sort of stand out.
Yes, that's a good point. They are very different games. They are very different experiences. And you know, even though Star Fox is a later release, I think Pilotwings is infinitely better looking than Star Fox. And don't get me wrong, I mean, we call it Star Wings.
I agree.
I love Star Fox for the SNES. It's a great game, but man, it's ugly. Like, you know, I fired up Pilotwings just today and was like, you know, the plane is a cute little plane. Like, it looks really lovely. And, you know, I know that they're just scaling out from like one big set island that you're navigating. But when you look down at it, you go, that's an island. Like, I can tell that that's a landing pad. I can tell that that's a runway. I can tell this, and it's because you're right. You know, they're using those sort of pixelated images and
good old Mode 7.
Good old Mode 7.
I think you're totally right. I think you could argue that Pilotwings has aged a lot better than the original Star Fox.
Yes. Yeah. And it's funny, you know, so for anybody who doesn't know, you know, a lot of people might not know what Mode 7 is. It's basically sort of rotating and scaling flat objects. It's like the sort of most basic description you could give of it. And back in the SNES days, that was the trick to making things appear closer and further away, because it wasn't a thing, that it wasn't 3D space in games. So it's a very clever technique. And, you know, when you play Pilotwings, you feel how far away those rings are, even though it's not true. they just exist there.
Nothing's really true in video games.
Nothing's really true in video games, apart from the grief and anguish that you feel.
Absolutely.
So, you know, it does those tricks beautifully in the game. And yeah, I love just the little details. Like, if you come in too hot on the plane on the runway, you bounce like a plane would do, you know, but then you've got the sort of whimsy, right? I mean, starting to hate the word whimsy because I say it too much, but of Nintendo, where you've got, you know, a completely fictitious rocket belt. What is it? But
it's such a weird way to say jetpack. Is what it is, a jetpack.
I know,
but they call it a rocket belt for some reason. I think it's cool, but
it's great.
It's weird. Yeah,
you know.
Also, the rocket belt has by far the best theme in the original Super Nintendo. It's really such a weird song. I love it.
Yeah, so you know you've got these three and hang gliding as well, which I don't like on the SNES, but three very distinct play styles. And you know, it's a mission-based game, so you're basically like, you have to, how do you describe it? Like, carry out a mission for each of these pieces of equipment in a row. You can select which one you start with, but you have to do them all in a row to accrue a certain amount of points to get a sort of certain license, and then you move up to the next level. And that's where the game gets really brutal, right? Because like flying around and stuff, I wish they had a free mode, but flying around is lovely. It's a lovely experience. But if you mess up one of those landings and they're not easy, you've got to basically, you're not going to get the points, and you've got to do it all over again. Yeah, and so
it's brutal.
It is. You know, I think doing it on NSO where you can rewind a bit frequently is not, or set save states. Definitely advisable to do that over the classic experience. But yeah, you know, it's brutally hard. And then you've also got the bonus rooms that we mentioned, like the little penguin dive and stuff. What's your favourite vehicle from the original, David? Is it the plane, the sort of flight simulator, or is it something a bit more sort of off the wall that Nintendo did with it?
I think the Rocket Belt has always been my favorite. I love the kind of I love kind of space games or anything that includes like thrust, right? So like the Lunar Lander games or whatever, where you're kind of tapping A to kind of slow down, or using the other one. You're right in that it's a little hard, but once you get the hang of the movement, beating the Rocket Belt stages really fast, you feel like a god. You're like, oh my god, I like nailed it. You know?
Zipping about,
Yeah. I also, when I was a kid, I loved the skydiving, kind of the aiming to go down through the rings as they're going, and then waiting until the very last second to open your chute. Always gave me a bit of a thrill. So I really like that one as well.
How about you, Josh?
Yeah, on the Super Nintendo one, probably Rocket Belt or just the regular plane one.
Yeah,
I'm not particularly good at the falling one. And the hang gliding I like in later games, but not so much in the Super Nintendo version of Pilotwings. Although I'm not very good at SNES Pilotwings. When you were talking about the instructors being kidnapped and stuff like earlier in the episode, I had no idea that happened. I never got that far in the game, so that was me. That was my surprise.
Oh, you've got to do it. What? You've got to do it. It's so funny.
It is crazy.
I think it's like you do 4 missions, right, David? Like you clear like 4 stages or whatever, and then basically
or your port licenses,
something like that. And I'm not Josh. Like the screen goes like blood red with like just silhouette images and saying your instructors have been kidnapped by a terrorist organization or something.
Yeah,
and it's saying like
I think it's Al Qaeda actually. I think it's
like literally something like that. And it's basically saying you're the only person in this club who's even qualified to rescue. Thinking there must be military personnel somewhere in the country that can do this, but no, it's up to you, and it's great. So it's kind of a mix, right, of the Rocket Belt and the plane. In that you sort of have to thrust, like you were saying, David, to sort of get the rocket up, and then you're tilting it, but with that top-down view.
Well, you've got a helicopter, right? So you're like dropping bombs and stuff like from great heights. Yeah.
So you have missiles, and basically it's not like I love Desert Strike for the SNES, sort of classic game, but that is you're sort of tracking along with the helicopter, whereas this is all from above the helicopter, and again it's showing off that mode 7, right? In that you've got turrets on the ground and they're firing at you, and it's a great. The effect is still great of the things just like going past the. I literally hit my headphones there while demonstrating it, but just sort of like whizzing. Yeah, I would definitely die. Just whizzing past the helicopter, and you have to sort of move it and take them out and get to the landing zone. But it's just, if you're not expecting it, the shift is hilarious. But it's another really good example of like, them sort of acing that the feel and making it different and unique from the other vehicles. Mm-hmm. And it's funny you mentioned the music, David, because I think that is Koji Kondo's one track in that game. Is
right.
that track? And
because the rest was Soya Oka, right?
Yeah. So it's all like it's very different, and it's just he's just an absolute god. So he just completely nails it basically. So yeah, Josh, please give it a go on NSO. It's so worth it.
It's more motivating. I feel like if it's the second license, maybe the third license is the furthest I've ever got, and then completely failed at it.
Yeah,
just liberally use the rewind feature.
Yeah, I think I will need to.
Yeah.
Last time I played Pilotwings, it was just to record footage, and I didn't even make it past license 1. I was like, right, well, I got the footage I need.
Ace Pilot, Josh Goldie. So we'll move on then sort of to Pilotwings 64. So that was like it was quite a brutal experience, but very fun, and like you said, David, the kind of blend of arcade and flight sim. It does have your altitude meter, it does have speed. It's trying to kind of be a flight simulator, but definitely with that Nintendo touch. Whereas, I think 64 really steps away from that, right? And really embraces the kind of cartoony nature. Saying that though, all of their advertising was, it's so real, it's so real. So I don't know if it was trying to be a realistic thing, or if they thought, well, it's never going to be that. So do we kind of lean into this kind of silly, sort of pretty aesthetic? Do you know what I mean? I'm not sure what they're doing.
It's the character design that really does it with Pilotwings, because Pilotwings 64 is the one I'm both least familiar with and most familiar with at the same time. It was the last one I played out of the 3 of them, but I knew about it beforehand because I knew it had characters.
Yes.
Like I knew Lark as a character, because he's based on, well, he looks at least like Nesta.
Nester's Funky Bowling.
That's right. Yeah.
Like he looks very similar to him, and so I knew about Lark, and I knew it had characters, and so I'd seen a lot of Pilotwings 64, and I knew about the Mount Wario Rushmore, secret.
Mount Wario. That was the beginning of Mount Wario.
That's the origin. So I knew all this stuff, but I just never played it until like recently, where I did play it and I'm not very good at it.
Yeah.
But that's a trend in Pilotwings for me.
How about you, David? Was it like a day one N64, as you were such a big fan of the first one?
Actually, no. This, for some reason, this one passed me by when I was a kid. I think when we got an N64, it was Cruisin' USA was the first game we got, weirdly.
Oh, yeah.
And then it was Mario 64. Yeah. And I don't know that I ever actually had Pilotwings when I was younger for the N64. That was one that I came to later, right? Through emulation and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy it. I think it's funny you were talking about it being more cartoony. I feel like they kind of had to put some of that in. They went a different way with it, right? I think the whole kind of technology of that game was from a Western studio that had worked on, actual flight simulator game. They came through with like a pitch to Nintendo, and I think it was Nintendo's idea to then be like, okay, this is great, but we need to kind of cartoonify it. We need to, change it up. So I think what I liked so much about the first Pilotwings was that it really felt like you were the character, and all the characters that are in that game are the instructors. And then this go around, they kind of changed it. There aren't really instructor characters. It's all these characters that you can decide to play as. So I don't know that I prefer that to the original, and I think Pilotwings Resort kind of changes that back where you're playing as your me again, so it really feels more personal. But I think still it's a cool way to do it, and I like it quite a bit. And I think playing it nowadays, it's still very, very fun.
It still holds up well, actually navigating the space is still quite satisfying. And, I think it's one of these things I always say it's crucial with games like this, is that if I miss a ring, I never feel like it's the game's fault. It's my fault that I've missed it, Right. Or if you're shooting the targets with a gyrocopter, it's achievable. You just got to be good enough to do it. So, it is never too punishing in that way. But where it's different from the first, I should say, and where it's different from the first game is that, you have to clear. You're not clearing like all the different vehicles to get a license. It's literally, okay, this is the vehicle, and you can work through the licenses for this vehicle if you want to, and then you can switch to the next vehicle if you want to, and you can retry as many times as you want. So it's much, much more forgiving than the first game, and it encourages you to play through it, right? Because you're not. I mean, both these games, even the more punishing SNES version, and the best Nintendo games do this better than anybody else. The amount of times I'll crash and go, just one more go, just one more go, just one more go, just one more go. And it's, both of these games are just quintessential, just one more go experiences because of that challenge that they offer and the fact that you can sort of go again quite quickly. I think the island's lovely. I can't remember if it's got a name. It's quite nondescript. It's a miniature United States. It's a miniature America is the island, which is hilarious. But yes, the characters never really stood out to me. They're slightly like the heavier ones are better for like the gyrocopter and things. The lighter ones are better for the rocket belt. So there's slight changes in how they control and play. And there is some real challenge. There's like a ring at the end of a cave you have to navigate with a rocket belt. That's pretty brutal. Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot packed into it, and it's got weird bonus modes. So you've got a Birdman where you're just flapping your wings, which is kind of like
classic.
That's the classic. That's the first one,
Birdman.
Josh, which is why you've got it.
Yeah.
But that one's basically like free fly. So that's the kind of closest you get to free flying in the game, right? You can just navigate the island. But after that, do you guys remember the other three that you've got from there?
Well, there's the cannon, right, that shoots you out.
Cannonball. You literally just have to aim it above the target, and your character just goes smack into the target. Pretty good.
Take that from Mario 64.
Yeah,
basically.
Just have that mechanic. Thank you very much. Yes. Do you remember the other two? We mentioned one in the quiz.
The kind of jumpy boots.
Spring shoes.
The little spring boots, which are so weird because you're like... And again, interesting, they didn't explore this in Resort, but you're on the ground. You can explore the island a bit more on the ground. You actually have an opportunity to go, oh, this is what this place is like. And then the last one after that is skydiving, and I'm always terrible at skydiving in Pilotwings. But yes, I think they sort of were starting to get more into it's fun to just explore. There's a lot of challenge, but it's a fun place to explore.
If you've got an island, and remember, this is like one of the early 3D games. So I'm sure it's on their mind to be like, look, you got an island that everyone's flying around and stuff. Wouldn't it just be nice to
walk
run
around
the island, just look around the island, explore the island? That's part of what makes resorts so fun.
Yeah,
because we've been given Woohoo Island multiple times ahead already, but never once has it just let the player actually have the freedom to
go
look
around
at Woohoo Island themselves.
Just fly around and pick where you want to see.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to explain as well to sort of younger gamers now. Just how amazing it was to have a 3D space to walk around. It just wasn't a thing. It didn't exist. You know, Hyrule.
And when you were younger too, it's like you know, like having 3D spaces like that when you're a kid. It's just you could just walk. You don't even need any gameplay. That could just make you happy for days.
You just explore. It's a sandbox for yourself to just look around in.
It was, you know. I remember as I got older, I used to just gun it to Hyrule Castle and Ocarina of Time and like leap onto the bridge before nightfall, so like just make it. But as a kid, I probably spent like a week in Hyrule Field just going, oh, what's this? What's this? What's this? And you know, it's so small now when you look at it, but back then it felt enormous because it didn't exist. It didn't exist before then, you know. So yes, like love that in 64. Love that they, you know, and you could take pictures of hilarious, massive polygonal whales and whatever, you know, to sort of save to your 64 memory. So all really lovely. GameCube sequel was planned, a Wii sequel was planned, but they didn't happen for whatever reason. I think it was Factor 5 who made Rogue Squadron. They were going to make it, but it fell through. So eventually we got Wii Sports Resort, which introduced was it flying and was it something else? That's sort of
parachuting, isn't it?
Parachuting,
like sky, because the game starts with skydiving.
Right. That's right.
And then the airplane mode, I think, is the last mini game you unlock.
Right.
You're kind of just holding it like this.
Yeah.
Tilting it
It's
around.
Which I guess that was the first time you could explore Woohoo Island.
Not good. Luckily, they changed it for the 3DS. And, you know, I think it's funny because Pilotwings Resort, you know, 2011 3DS, there's a lot... I feel like there's a lot missing in terms of the previous Pilotwing games, but in terms of the depth effect and the sort of explorative nature of it, and actually it still looks very pretty today. It's, you know, it's a very beautiful, very peaceful game to play, but isn't necessarily what I expect from a Pilotwing games. Do you think that's fair?
I would say so. Yeah, I think again, with me being so fond of the original game, I think it's missing a little bit of that challenge that I think makes it gamey to me. I think out of all of them, this kind of feels the most tech demo-y, right?
Yeah.
It feels very much like, hey, this is what it's like to fly around on Woohoo Island, a place you've already been before, and you're just a me now. And it basically like turned Pilotwings into a Wii game. You know, it was like Wii Flight or whatever, basically, which was funny. I think Wii Fly was what they eventually turned the Factor 5 game they were trying to turn that into.
There was actually the first name for this podcast, but then we realised we're all nerds, so it didn't catch on. We had to change it. But I said, the We Fly podcast, because we're cool guys, right?
Right. Yeah, we fly. We fly as hell.
Yeah, good. I'm glad that joke landed. And that's another joke. There's another joke just for you in that one. So yes, not a ton of experience. It sounds like you guys maybe didn't experience too much of that game either.
Well, so it's a different way for me. So Pilotwings Resort is the first one I played. I'm pretty confident.
Oh.
So, like, I've been trying to remember this whole time when I first played the Super Nintendo Pilotwings, because I didn't grow up with Pilotwings on the Super Nintendo or 64. I don't know at what point I heard about Pilotwings as a series. It was probably through something Smash Brothers related. No idea.
Drink.
One. But Pilotwings Resort is obviously it's a launch title for 3DS. It was like its only game. Months.
Yeah, back when the 3DS was so expensive as well.
So it's pretty much all I played until I gave up and bought Street Fighter as well.
Oh, nice. Oh, where is it? I've got it here somewhere. Hang on. This was my launch game. Funny enough, speaking of Pilotwings, I'm pretty sure that was my launch game.
Yeah, me too.
Nice. Yeah.
Star Fox 64 for anybody who's just listening. Yes.
Yeah. But like, so unless I play Pilotwings on an emulator beforehand, because I don't think I ever owned it on the Wii Virtual Console, at least I'm pretty sure I didn't, then would have been the 3DS one would have been the first one I played. So I had a different experience where this is what I was this is what Pilotwings I know as, where it kind of just feels like an extension of Wii Sports,
right?
Because that's what it does. I think I want to say it's made by the same team who did Wii Sports. And Wii Sports
I'd be very surprised if it wasn't.
Yeah.
I actually think it's Monster.
Is it Monster?
Yeah, the Excite team. Yeah.
Well, fair enough then. Because that would have been. Well, I played Excite Truck, I guess. We did that episode recently, didn't we?
We done it.
Yeah. So it's a different. I was going back to the old Pilotwings.
So basically, it was just kicking your ass more and more as you were. Yeah,
probably why I'm not good at the original Pilotwings.
This will be easy. No. How about you, David? So obviously you showed us. I think you've got it running in the background there. In fact, on your 3DS.
Yeah, I do. I've got it on my 3DS.
There it is.
So I didn't get it on launch, but I did eventually get it. And yeah, I love Pilotwings Resort. Not as much as the other two, but it is a very chill experience, and I think. I love the 3D on it, although I've always had kind of a hard time with 3DS 3D anyway. I never got a new 3DS, so it's like I have to really hold it exactly because I don't have the eye tracking of the new 3DS. So it's like, so I love it, but I always want to like tilt the system, and if you do that at all, you lose the 3D effect. So that's one that I just recently put in, even though my wallet should not have allowed this, in order for that new the Iron double screen handheld that's coming out, the new emulator that they put out, and that's what I'm really looking forward to playing on that new emulator. Playing those 3DS games upscaled like 4 times or whatever. I think this game is going to look amazing. Flying around Woohoo Island. So I'm actually really excited to play it when it's not so crunchy on my 3DS screen.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, that's the sort of a brief overview of the Pilotwings series. And yes, I think playing it on a large screen would be very nice. So let's find out if you're going to blow it up even more, because David, you won the quiz, which means you are now the president of Nintendo. But we are the board.
All I've ever wanted.
All you've ever wanted, apart from the pressure's on now, though, because we are the board, and we demand that you bring back the Pilotwings series and that you make it a big success. So please tell us, how do you plan to do it?
Absolutely. Well, my pitch is kind of 2 pitches in one, because essentially I'm pitching both the game and a console edition for the Switch 2, and that is Pilotwings World. Is my game. It is the newest in the series, and it is going to be a launch title for the Switch 3D, which is a VR headset peripheral for the Switch 2. So obviously we know we have the Virtual Boy headset coming out that you slide it into. I've always thought the Switch would be perfect for a little enclosure that you strap to your head. And you have the controls to the side, the split Joy-Cons and everything like that. So the Switch 3D will launch with Pilotwings World. The game will be playable in 2D as well entirely, but it will be best played in 3D. And I'm taking actually a lot of this pitch from that canceled Factor 5 game, because one of the really cool things that they had done was, do you guys remember that YouTube video of the guy that wore the IR glasses and it had the controller pointing at him? Yeah, exactly. So apparently Factor 5 was using that tech for their canceled Pilotwings game that they were working on. So I think like having the ability to kind of look around the cockpit and kind of take in your environment, that's going to be a huge selling point for this game.
Nice.
And so I took a lot of elements from that for this pitch, but for me, the hook of this game is that it is set in the real world, right? I think the canceled Factor 5 game kind of had a miniature version of the whole world that you could travel around in. In my game, I'd like to utilize the actual scanned satellite Google Earth 3D mesh of the Earth, right? So there will be bespoke areas in major cities and, natural landmarks or wherever where, the developers will actually set all the challenges. But I think the big hook and draw of this game is there will be kind of procedural elements to the game. So if you want to play Pilotwings in your city, you can basically pull up in your hometown a 3D kind of render, that would have to stream in. Obviously you would have to download it before you play into your city, but it would have, the different elements, and it would take based on elevation where the different things would be. Right. So that is kind of, I think, the cool part of the game, kind of making it even more, simulation-y than it has been in the past. I think also multiplayer will be a really big part of Pilotwings' world. So I think the storyline would basically revolve around training much more than it was in Pilotwings Resort. We'd kind of go back to the instructors. Instructors being characters. You would play as your me again in this one, but you'd have a little bit more realistic proportions, kind of like Nintendo Switch Sports, I suppose.
I was going to say, are we doing sports mates instead of me's?
Right. Yeah, exactly. But I love me's, so I think it's good to bring your me back, and it kind of it's okay for me's to be in more games. I actually think me's need to be in way more games for Nintendo these days. But yeah, I think obviously you have that gimmick of being able to play in any part of the world, but I think bringing multiplayer into the series would make Free Flight so much fun with your friends as you're going around and doing stuff. And the story kind of leads to this, because the whole idea would be that you're training for a Blue Angels style kind of air show situation, right? So as you're getting to the end game and you've gotten all your licenses, you can then do these multiplayer Blue Angels air shows with the planes as you're going.
Nice.
Amazing.
I've got some more stuff if you guys are okay with this. I'll try to keep it pretty
going.
Quick. But
I will quickly just say Red Arrows, not Blue Angels. But please carry on.
Okay, well, I think there's a number of them. But I guess your dad was a pilot too, so I give you a pass. Yeah, so in the game, light plane, skydiving, rocket belt, and hang glider will all return. And there will be additional things as well in this game. One of them is hot air balloon. Nice. I think that would be very fun and a very chill mode that you can play through as you're exploring the world. Wingsuit would become kind of a mainstay, not just a mini game like it was in the N64, or I guess the 3DS game. Yeah. And then I also want to bring in drones in this one. So the gyrocopter is basically kind of like what those human-sized drones are nowadays. So I think that would kind of turn into a human-sized drone, and then also you would have a mini drone. So especially in the VR mode, zipping around really quickly throughout cities with your drone, I think would be a really fun mode in the game as well. So that would be brought into it. It'll bring back mini games, so like Birdman, Trampoline, and stuff like that. Those will all kind of come back. And then I think as far as like the aesthetic goes, in my head, I really want to return to that kind of jazz fusion style. I think my favorite part of the Pilotwings series, and especially that Super Nintendo one, is the Soya Oka soundtrack. So I think like aesthetically, I'd love to have it be, a lot of pastels, have that kind of like 80s, 90s Japanese city pop aesthetic as you're going through it, and bring some of that element into the game, give it a little bit of its own sort of identity again, beyond just like a Wii game, or like, this is a game that uses Woohoo Island again. It would be, something that has its own identity and kind of, show itself off that way. And then as far as the developers are concerned, I'm thinking this will be developed by some of Nintendo's Western studios. I think a lot of the Pilotwings games outside of the first one have been mostly developed by Western studios. So I'm thinking Nintendo Software Technology in Redmond would be a great fit for this, maybe with some help by Retro, because they did a great job working out or helping out on Mario Kart 8. And then obviously you got to bring in Monolith Soft for some of these more bespoke areas, because they're the best at building terrain. But that is my pitch for Pilotwings World, and my secret pitch for the Switch 3D.
Pretty solid. I mean, a question right off the bat for me is do you think the Switch 2 can handle that? Can it handle, generating those big old real world maps?
100%. I think you're going to have to include some streaming, like I said, if you're going to be playing outside of the bespoke, like already pre-built areas that are in the game. But all the procedural stuff, once you're in the kind of free flight mode or the real Earth mode, whatever you want to call it, a lot of it would be downloading. And I think a lot of the processing power can be offset by the visual style. So having it be a little bit more pastel, a little bit maybe cell shaded, maybe even lower poly, to kind of mask some of that, Google Earth satellite mesh look, I think will make it work out pretty well in the processing power.
All right. Josh?
So I think the first question, the obvious question to be asking with anything Pilotwings is, in today's land, how are we going to compete against Microsoft Flight Simulator? Like, what are we doing to make sure it's super distinct, that people know that this isn't just Nintendo Flight Simulator? This is This is something else.
This is
This
Pilotwings,
something-
man.
Yeah.
I think it's vibes.
Beyond the name.
I think it's vibes, and it's like the arcadiness of it, right? You got to bring that. You got to bring back the Nintendo playfulness, right? And I think if you have that in there, it gives it its own identity that's very separate. While at the same time, you know, it is more Flight Simulator than they've ever been, especially with the open world and kind of utilizing the you know, satellite geography of the Earth. But I think the multiplayer, the you know, the characterization of the instructors, and you know, the cell shaded and music and everything like that, I think will really give it its own identity.
And are the instructors going to be Mii's as well? Or are they going to be different?
I don't
we
see
get
them
Office
as
Lady
Mii's.
back.
Hybrid real character Mii game. Every time your Mii turns up, they just go, "Oh my god!"
No, it'll be FMVs. It'll just be videos of real people. That's
Real
what they should do.
people popping in.
Like Myst. It's like a Myst Pilotwings crossover.
So good. Yes, I would hope there'd be Mii. That would be utterly terrifying. Can you imagine if a Mii, as a person who looked like a Mii, just popped into your room right now? You'd die. You'd just die.
I fall in love.
Office lady, you've come into my life.
Yeah, finally.
Finally.
So tan.
Out of the office. I was about to say out of the office into the cockpit, but that's definitely
That
up for
is the
misinterpretation.
tagline for Pilotwings World.
Yeah, that's...
No. Family friendly. Talk to me about the challenges then. So, you know, obviously, like you were saying about the sort of playful nature of it and they're kind of leaning into Nintendo. You mentioned some of the major cities will have challenges. Is it, you know, just flying through rings again, or can we expect to see something different, like a sort of unique twist that makes it the Switch's version of Pilotwings?
That's a great question. I kind of think that it would be mostly the rings, targets, kind of the sort of stuff that we've seen before. I kind of don't want to change that up too much. I think so much of the formula is changing up, and I think making it this like truly, you know, this would be like one of the big first major true open earth games, right? So I think like you don't want to mess with the formula too much. You kind of want to let that shine. You know, I'm thinking very much like this is the next evolution of the Mario Kart World format of making everything all connected, right? So I think, you know, you want to add in, especially in the free mode when you're flying around wherever you want, you know, collectibles, pickups, all that kind of stuff.
Nice.
But you want to keep the gameplay loop there. I think that's kind of one of the main issues I had with Mario Kart World in the open world areas was they had all the like side quest stuff that you would see in a game, but kind of forgot to put a game in. You know, what I mean? So I think having the progression of getting your licenses, you know, trying to get the right amount of points before you can move on to your next license. I want to keep all of that pretty much intact.
Okay, all right. And then do you get to pilot, you know, a helicopter warship and blow things up, or
I actually do have an ending. I do have an
Okay.
ending for the game,
Oh, God.
of the story.
Nice.
So and this is also taking a little bit from the Factor 5 pitch, but essentially, so you're working your way up to this like Blue Angels or Red Arrows, whatever you want to call it, show at the end. Yeah, you're welcome. And so you do that, right? And you kind of perform that either with friends or with bots as you're kind of flying in formation. But then there's like a message saying that there is an alien force coming in, essentially.
Very good.
So the idea is, you know, all of these pilots from all these countries around the real world have to come together and fly to the moon. And basically, the end of the game would take place on the moon instead of like in a jungle, and you'd be on a lunar lander sort of thing, defending UFOs coming in as like your last resistance before they get to Earth.
That's so good. That's so Pilotwings as well. It's so like that is brilliantly Pilotwings. No return of Mecha Hawk.
Mecha Hawk is sadly absent. Maybe that'll be DLC. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Nintendo loves their paid DLC these days.
They love it.
True.
I know.
Just add Woohoo Island back in as paid DLC.
Boo! Just give it to me for free. Josh, any more questions, Josh?
Yeah. So, how many actually, yeah. You know, this is a good question based on what you were just saying. So, how will we support this post launch? Because I feel like I feel like an issue in the modern day is a very arcadey feel game might not feel long enough for a lot of players. Like a lot of score attack based games don't necessarily appeal in the same way that they used to. But a way that if we found to get around that is doing support in the longer term to get people to come back whenever something new gets added. So how are we going to support Pilotwings.
Yeah, I think I was kind of joking about the paid DLC. By the way, I think that you could, especially if this is a launch game for the VR headset. I think that what I would say is player creation. So it's like, as you're going into, say, you want to build something out in like Chicago. Like, let's say Chicago isn't one of the base cities that's in the game. You could, have player created, you decide where you put the rings or whatever, right? And so you could have these kind of bespoke levels and then have some sort of browsing thing where you could take user created content from online. I think that might be a pretty good way to keep the game alive, especially if you have some sort of online situation where you can get into a room with 12 people and you can all do these courses together at the same time. I think that would be pretty great.
Yeah, it'd be cool, especially if you could do like the sort of Red Arrows, Blue Angels formation flying and stuff like that. I think that'd be amazing to actually sort of be able to. I can't think of another game that does that actually off the top of my head. Sort of flying in formation and stuff like that. I think it's it's a pretty good angle for that.
I know. I'm the president of Nintendo.
Yeah, I'm sort of imagining just sort of flying along, looking around, very relaxed. What's the input like? We've got the mouse. Are we using a sort of a thing to sort of put thrust into the plane, or are we just having sort of standard controller? What's the input going to be like for the players? Is that going to be as immersive or?
I think standard controller is the way to go on this one. I don't want to make it too crazy because you already pretty much, if you're playing in VR, need the headset. So I kind of don't want to make it too much crazier than that. I think split Joy-Con makes the most sense, but I think you should be able to play it with a controller as well. Maybe for the Birdman mode, you could have the split Joy-Con so you're actually like flapping your wings. Which actually, I think they kind of are working towards this a little bit, or at least in the last Mario Party game, there was that mini game that was, you flap your wings like that.
So that would very much thing,
yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's WarioWare moving there. That's that right there.
Absolutely.
Oh, important question: is Mount Wario coming back? If you go to Mount Rushmore.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. There will be lots of Easter eggs throughout. Yeah, that's what we hire Monolith Soft for.
Nice.
To hide Easter eggs. Good.
I'm sort of very light on questions. It's a very complete, very well thought out pitch. A nice sort of nice transition for the series. Any final questions from you, Josh?
We're bringing the flight suit back, but what about the Birdman suit and the flying squirrel suit and the other animal themed suits?
Yeah, I think those will all come back as like bonus games and unlockables. Yeah. So I think in every major city that at least is built by the developers at the beginning, not the procedural ones, they'll all have like little hidden areas where you can unlock those mini games.
Nice. All right.
Nice. Okay.
All right. Yes, an sort of evolution of the series that takes you all around the world, gives you more vehicles, lets you fly in formation, brings in an alien threat. Very nice. Very solid pitch. Josh, you are now the president of Nintendo, but we are still the board, and we still demand that you bring back the Pilotwings series and make it a success. So please tell us, how would you plan to do it?
Okay. So, planes. Very complicated vehicles. I don't understand them. I'm sure you guys don't understand them, even with your pilot dads. I don't know if you understand them. So I want to bring it back to simplicity. I want to bring it back to where it all began. So it's 1880. And
oh yes. Okay.
You have just taken out you've just looked at a newspaper ad, and you've gone out and you meet the Wrong brothers. And they are out there in the field, and they've got a new dang flying machine, and they've got a bunch of different flying machines, because they really want to know how we get from down here to up there.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're going to take you through a variety of different old-timey flying machines from anything that works. We're going to have... You're going to have planes, you're going to have regular biplanes, you're going to have the wrong planes, the right planes. You're going to have kites. They'll tie you to a kite, and you'll have to fly down like that as you're getting pulled along. We'll have super thin planes that have a very tendency to turn like this really fast. You've got to really control it as you go down. Ones where you're on a little wheel and it's like a propeller above you, and you've got to constantly be pressing the button to pedal as you're also flying around. We're going to go back in time and teach people why planes are so complicated today.
Excellent.
I've shown you how simple they were back then. It's also going to be mission based.
Yeah.
as you go through and test out the mechanics of each of these old-timey flying machines. And you'll get graded by the Wrong Brothers on how you did, and maybe you change history. Like, maybe you do really bad with the regular plane, but you do really well with the pedal-powered spiral Da Vinci copter that was drawn up at some point. And then future now, in the end of this game, which you get to the end, it will look at all of your scores, and the best one will be the future of flight. That'll be the one they see as the way forward.
Amazing.
And so we might cut to 100 years in the future, and you're at Heathrow Airport, and everyone's getting on giant pedal-bound flight things. All the passengers get in and get their pedals on and start.
Incredible.
And that's from your tests.
Yes.
Back in the 1800s.
All right, I love that. What's it called?
Pilotwings First Flight.
Ooh, that's
very
great.
Nice, very nice.
I think there's space for both of our games in the Nintendo release calendar, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, it's a very different take. Any questions right off the bat from you, David?
Oh yeah, I don't know. More of a compliment. I love the idea. I think because obviously so many of those like early, you see the footage in the the black and white footage of those early planes that would just like fall immediately. It'd be so cool to actually like fly those around. Like a video game is a great place to do that. Would the Mii's be involved? I guess is my question.
Oh no, I think we're gonna have an original style again. We're gonna have an original look. We're gonna try and make it really old timey. I'm really half dependent to whether or not there should be like a brown filter that makes it.
Yeah,
look
100%. As I've been picturing this, that is literally what I've been picturing. Like I would be angry with you if you didn't do that. To be honest.
It's Pokemon Legends Pilotwings, basically.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll get the aesthetic of those old pictures you've seen of the flying machines.
Yeah.
And the two brothers with their top hats, or one of them's got the goggles, the classic aviator hat and goggles.
Yeah. Wrong Brothers is so funny.
Yeah.
In the cutscenes, is it going to be like, how footage from that time people look like they're running really fast because it's sort of like, they sort of do like, and then like dangle off like that.
Yes.
Okay, so we've got like you dangling from a kite, flying around like sort of paper thin planes. I mean, again, we've talked a little about combat. There's a bit of combat in David's pitch. There's a bit of combat in the real Pilotwings for SNES. Are we having any sort of, trench warfare? Planes did exist during that time. Are we having any of this kind of combat?
It's true. Yeah, well, you see, Big Boat doesn't like this. They don't like the idea of flying machines taken away from
all that lobbying by Big
business.
Boat. Yeah.
So they're going to try and sabotage the various flights as you get further into the game, and you've got to try and work this while a problem goes on.
Sorry, Josh. I'm so sorry. I can't get over Big Boat.
Yeah.
So
an influential group in the 1800s.
Yeah. It's so good, Big Boat.
They were really in charge.
Go on. So how? Sorry, please carry on. How a Big Boat taking down the planes that could exist literally hundreds of miles inland from Big Boat. What are their plans?
It's all sabotage, right? So at the start, it's all like there's a sneaky guy and he's doing stuff. You're on the helicopter spiral thing and you realise that he's unscrewed something, so the spiral's going to come off. So you've got to do it really. You've got to try and control your pedal speeds that you don't accidentally screw off the thing before it flies off.
That's incredible. Great.
And he'll mess with the balancing, so the planes tilt faster, and so you've got to have a bit more control over it. Or you'll have the hot air balloon, and it's losing heat much quicker than it should be.
Right.
And you've got to control the temperature a lot more precisely. It's all going to be a way we justify how these are getting harder.
Yeah.
The further you get in through each of the tests, and then eventually they're just going to give up and start trying to fire missiles at you. With a big battleship. And then you just got to dodge.
Classic Big Boat.
Can I ask another question? Is there a proto rocket built in this game?
Yes.
Come on.
Because we can go this is a historical, obviously, but this is still Nintendo. This is still whimsy. And have you seen some of the designs of early planes and flying things? There's a guy who drew a picture of a dragon flying machine.
Excellent.
Which is just a dragon with a thing on its back.
That guy.
And it's like, we could make this.
What a dreamer.
Exactly.
Why didn't we listen to him? We could all be flying in dragon-shaped planes in the sky right now.
Exactly. So we are gonna have like a steampunky type rocket belt.
Oh, nice!
That like blows out steam from it, very steampunk-esque. We're gonna have like some of these will be reserved for like the secret bonus ones. So we're gonna have that dragon there. There's just gonna be a random bonus special one. Maybe it's the last special you get, where it is just a dragon that you're flying around.
Brilliant.
That's why not. That's why we're going to have the Birdman, because obviously people back then were like, birds fly.
That's probably where Birdman
What
came
if
from.
we just birds?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So obviously, like the usual core loop of the games is sort of work through licenses and things like that. Obviously, Pilot's license didn't exist in the 1880s.
Doesn't exist. No.
So you have mentioned that you're sort of scaling difficulty, and depending on how well you tackle that, it kind of shapes the future. But how does that sort of come about? What's the kind of game loop? Is it still challenges, or is the challenge purely to fly, and it is just how well you carry that off? And what's the end point that then reveals the kind of future of aviation?
Well, there will be various... Like you said, there's no licenses. So what we're not going to do is you fail a bunch and then they fire you. Because they don't know what the planes are going to be like. Your hurry might very well be them. They're just like, it's the plane's fault. So
fair enough.
So each of the challenges are going to be tested. They'll be like, how far you can fly, how well you can land, can you hit the targets, can you make it over this thing, and like how well you do it. It depends on how little you hit stuff, how fast you can do it, how accurate you can be while land, and it will all tally up scores, and then it'll be based on that like total score. So after all is said and done.
Yeah, so there's like a set amount of challenges in the game. It's a game with an end, is basically what I'm saying.
Yes,
I guess.
It's a game with an end. And then you can go back and do like a free mode where you can try and get the best scores on challenges. Just to, try and go up there. And one thing we are going to add, though, is a co-pilot mode. Where there's a second pilot. To test out and to help, and I want a bit of asymmetrical gameplay for this, right?
Yes.
So I
miss asymmetrical gameplay.
One person who flies, and then the other one who acts like flight control.
The navigator.
And is having a guide
the
person as they fly.
Turn left.
Set the rings and stuff like that.
I can't help but feel like gameplay won't be too thrilling for player 2 if they've just got basically a compass on their Switch. Yeah.
Oh, it'll be better than the multiplayer modes in like Mario Galaxy or Mario Odyssey anyway.
Yeah, I'm getting the stars. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I'm doing it.
Yeah, George likes it. Thumbs up.
Damn it, thumbs up. Okay, all right. David, any more questions?
Nope, I think that's it for me. I'm sold. I want this game right now.
I do really like it. Oh, I do have one more. So David's talked about the kind of like very much about the music and the aesthetic, and we've touched on the aesthetic. But what's the music? Because obviously music very very different back then. Are we leaning into that, or are we kind of retaining the kind of music that you would associate with Pilotwings?
So, as much as I love modern day all the Pilotwings soundtracks, in fact, they're all great. Go listen to them on Nintendo Music. In my head, this entire pitch, I've just had do 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 do. So that's
the only song is the entertainer.
That's the only song it has played in my head for the last 10 minutes.
The entertainer. You just want the entertainer on loop for like a 20-hour game. That's hideous. Do you want to say, okay, well done, Mr. President. You've bankrupted Nintendo.
Had to
pay
was on
for the
board
rights,
and
then nobody wants it. Yeah. So good. All right. So I think a generous interpretation would say honky tonk piano is what you're after.
Honky tonk piano.
Right, okay.
Yes,
one of those giant machines that they had at the carnivals that all the whiz bangs.
I want the feel of 1890s aerodynamics going.
All right. He's keeping it authentic. I can't fault it. Okay. I mean, I do. I love that. I sort of, I do quite like it when games do hard pivots, keeping on theme, but making their own kind of setting. So yeah, Pilotwings First Flight, a sort of dip into the start of aviation. I think that's an interesting take. We're low on time. Oh yeah, it's a great title. So my title is bad, but I'm going to throw in a final pitch. Now I had two options, and I really couldn't pick between them. I think I'm going to stick with my second one, but my first one was essentially just to make a very kind of vehicle heavy but exploratory game where, you know, because Pilotwings has always been about showing off what a system can do, it's all about having the split Joy-Cons. And actually, you know, if you're flying a helicopter, you have a mouse Joy-Con which you're, you know, using as a joystick to fly a helicopter.
Mm-hmm.
If you're flying a plane, you have, you know, the thrust. You have to put the mouse down on the surface and sort of, you know, thrust, and then, you know, you sort of, I suppose you lock that and then pull it up into your, I don't know what it's called when pilots, the steering wheel.
Yeah,
it can't just be the steering wheel, can it?
Yeah.
That can't be right.
Plug it into the pilot-approved Switch 2 wheel.
The pilot-approved Switch 2 wheel. But, you know, and when you're hang gliding, you're having the Switch like this and having a way for it to sort of, you know, tell when you're balancing. Mm-hmm. Rocket belt, you've got your two things and you have to literally, you know, like tilt to sort of adjust the thrust and stuff. I quite like that as an idea, but I just, you know, Josh and I, we played Drag and Drive together and love it in theory, but in practice was sort of left wanting because it did feel just like a tech demo. So everybody now loves building cozy places to live. It's the thing in games. Even Pokemon's doing it. So I might mix up two IPs for the first time in this podcast.
Ooh.
And I'm doing Animal Crossing Cross Pilotwings, which is
my God.
you end up on this island, much like Animal Crossing New Horizons, but it's part of an I never remember if it's archipelago or archipelago.
Archipelago. Yeah.
Archipelago, right. You know, a sort of chain of islands, and basically you're tasked with making this a prosperous chain of islands, and you have landed there and you're like this mysterious new stranger and you've got a rocket belt and you can, you know, hop between the islands and you're kind of helping trade and commerce, but then you've got your own little island, but it's not Animal Crossing size. Like, you know, your island is the size of the Great Plateau in Breath of the Wild. It's big. It's a big place to explore. And, you know, you really want to explore and get around. Eventually you can gather enough stuff to build a plane and you can, you know, fly further out, find more islands, start trading with them. Almost Sim City like as well, which is another one of the same sort of era as Pilotwings. So you're kind of, you have all these vehicles. I think I would have the mouse options because, as I said out loud, I was like, I do like this idea, but, you know, you can play it with a pad as well. It's not dependent on that. And yeah, you're just, you know, building up this chain of islands. And you are the pilot for the islands, and you know, transport things around, but also can explore. It's kind of your job, but also your joy to sort of make these places grow. And I mean, that's it really. It's sort of bringing it into this. And, you know, challenges, I suppose, maybe spectators come and see you clear challenges and they pay to watch it and that you earn money that way. So you're kind of like working, you know, it's your work, but it's fun to do.
So the challenge is the same as like regular Pilotwings challenges.
I think so.
Flying stuff.
Yeah, I think there would be, you know, rings in the sky or like, yeah, come watch me land on these targets. But, you know, there'll also be jobs. So maybe your rocket belt. Oh man, maybe you have like a flood-style rocket belt from Mario Sunshine, and there's
how many games are we mashing together?
Yeah, how many crossing over now?
just little nods. They're just little nods, but you know, you've
it
essentially
wouldn't be
got
the first time. I mean, you know, obviously they already smashed Pilotwings into Wii Sports Resort. So
this is true.
Yeah, true.
This is true. Yeah. And Smash Brothers, and you know, so you've got the little rocket belt to go up, and then you've got a little spout that comes out, and you're sort of clearing up things. You know, it's all kind of woven into what you can do. Maybe you unlock more things, or you know, you buy the upgrade for your rocket belt or build it for your rocket belt to unlock more things that you can do. So it's a game that just keeps sort of expanding and opening up, but you have this huge playground to explore and craft in a way that, and traverse and craft in a way that you want to. You know, you can't necessarily make it as customized as New Horizons islands are, but you've got a lovely space to explore and then like a cozy place within that to make your space as you want it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Sounds cool.
Any questions? We've got time for a couple more questions.
So is the aesthetics Animal Crossing then? Are the characters Animal Crossing characters? Is Tom Nook here? Is the Dodo flights?
I think they have to be. I think the Orville, is it the Orville brothers? Orville? Oh, it's Orville and because it's Orville Wright, isn't it?
Brothers.
So it's the Wright brothers. Yeah, it's Orville. Yeah. So I think they're there. You know, maybe they don't like you very much because you're sort of stealing their business.
So you're not working for them then?
No.
You're a human. You're a human in this.
Yeah, you're an independent.
Encroaching
You're an
in the
independent
animal
trader.
world. Yeah. You're like gentrifying this archipelago with humans.
Maybe I don't know if maybe it's like a fusion with like another style, like it's Animal Crossing, but it's its own thing. But then. Would there be riots from the Animal Crossing sort of super fans? I don't know.
That was going to be my question: is this more Pilotwings or is this more animal? Like is this okay? No. Here's my question: Is this the next Animal Crossing game, or is this an Animal Crossing spin-off?
Yeah.
See, I feel like it's. Oh, maybe I'm wrong to pick Animal Crossing. Maybe I'm wrong. maybe I should just be taking that as like a vibe but making it its own thing.
Sure, I think that would work better. I think because there's too much expectation with Animal Crossing, right?
This is true,
and I think you can. And Star Fox has proven that you can do anthropomorphic animals. And Nintendo can have multiple franchises with anthropomorphic animals.
Ones.
So it's like if you can keep the animals, just keep the visual style a little bit more distinct. Throw those into, but then it's just kind of like at this point, is this even a Pilotwings game?
Do we need animals? No. Okay, so I'm gonna take the advice of my board. I'm gonna pivot. It's gonna just be called. It's gonna be called Pilotwings Island Adventure. So you have these islands, and you are the mad Pilotwings inventor, and you invent these flying vehicles, and you are the one who can then like sort of make these places prosper, and you're just sort of spending your time by completing challenges to build up this chain of islands that belongs to you. That way it can have its own unique style and be more uniquely Pilotwings. We're leaning into exploration, still has the challenges that you associate with it. It still gets like to a level where it's really hard to complete those challenges. But for that longevity, you have that endless builder thing of explore as much as you want, gather as much as you want, build for as long as you want. Challenges will keep rolling out. You can play this game forever.
I have one last question, if I can.
Go on.
I know
yes.
we're running a little low on time, but does war come to the Pilotwing Islands like it does in all these other games?
Oh, I don't know. Do I want war to come?
How integral is war to the Pilotwings series? This is what you got to ask yourself.
It's pretty baked
Kind
in,
of
man.
died out after the first one, but they brought shooting into the second and third game.
Mecha Hawk's there. He's there. He's causing havoc. I think. Oh God, I don't want it. I don't want it.
Okay, good for you.
Do you know what? I think maybe Big Boat comes and goes around the islands, and you have to do like defensive maneuvers, but you don't necessarily have to destroy a destroyer. Maybe I don't know. I don't want
that
war.
Works.
I don't want war.
I think we've all had enough of war.
We've had enough of it. It's about time. It's 2025. Let's stop it, guys. Let's just get along, for goodness sake. Well, there you have it. 3 pitches to bring back the Pilotwings series. But did you like David's Pilotwings World, a Switch 3D launch title compatible with a new head-mounted unit, or things like the incoming Virtual Boy peripheral? Look around in real time as you traverse the entirety of planet Earth. With challenges placed in major cities, multiplayer, and training for an air show, you can fly light planes, hang gliders, rocket belts, and new vehicles too, like hot air balloons, wingsuits, and the like. This game is developed by Nintendo Software Technology and also relies heavily on multiplayer. Or, I think I've already said multiplayer, but that's fine. Or, do you like Josh's Pilotwings First Flight? Set in 1880, this prequel sees you help the Wrong Brothers. Sees you help the Wrong Brothers crack the secrets of flight as they work through a series of correct and incorrect vehicles in their quest. Dangle on a kite, fly paper-like planes and more, take on challenges and shape history with your abilities, culminating in the future of aviation depending on your actions. Developed by... Did we pick a developer for yours, Josh?
We didn't, actually.
Who is it?
Gonna also say Nintendo Software Technology.
Let's go, Redmond hype.
Let's do it.
also developed by Nintendo Software Technologies? Or do you like George's hastily renamed Pilotwings Island Adventure? A vehicle-heavy, fully explorable chain of islands for you to cruise around, do jobs, help people out, and develop a lovely community developed by somebody who'd be good at that because I had to change my pitch. You tell me. I don't know. Or do you have a better idea yourself? Let us know in the comments below. While you're there, please do like and subscribe. It will help us to grow. You can find us all over on Bluesky. I'll put links in the description. You can also support us on our Patreon, where we have live records, bloopers, and our monthly bonus podcast, The Wee Wee Boys. You need to see it to know what I'm talking about. Josh,
I might have to subscribe.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's a good one. Josh, thank you very much for being with us as always, and David, thank you very much for joining us for the first time. How was your NintenDormant debut?
Oh, I felt great. This is a very fun show. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate being able to collab with you guys. I'd love to have you guys on my podcast at some point as well.
I'd love to be there. Yes, please do check out Super Switch Headz. It's a wonderful podcast. But for now, thank you very much for listening, and that's game over. Goodbye.